Presented from the Aishin Broadcast Studio at Babcock's Media.
Hello and welcome again to Counterculture, presented by Counterman Magazine. My name is Jeff White. I'm the managing editor at Counterman. Well, today we're discussing an issue that might be uncomfortable to some and unimportant to others. We're talking about maintaining a professional appearance. So, we've brought in a familiar name to share some insight on this topic. Tom Dayton is the author of the Counterview articles for Counterman and the 2009 Counter Professional of the Year, and he's currently the parts manager at the Dave Warren Auto Group in Jamestown, New York. Thanks for joining us today, Tom.
Thanks a lot for having me, Jeff.
All right, so I want to start. This is a subject that you wrote about for the July issue of Counterman. So I want to start by asking, what role do you think store leadership should play in helping employees or team members balance self-expression and professionalism, especially around body art or hairstyles?
Well, I think setting clear expectations is the most important thing that we can do for any of our employees. But when we're dealing with something as personal as self-expression, it's definitely even more important. They want to know that their look, so to speak, is acceptable to us and that they don't have to worry about being singled out or looked at differently. I think that letting employees know where they stand with this stuff is important right from the get-go. Mm-hmm. So it's not in a disciplinary setting later on. Knowing that their body modifications or their hairstyle or even their clothing choices, if they're not in a company-issued uniform, are acceptable, and having those guidelines makes everyone more comfortable.
All right, now Tom, you've been doing this for a while now. Can you share an example that you can recall when a parts professional's appearance either helped or hurt during a customer interaction?
I've seen a few things over the years where just a customer's reaction to the counter person has been either positive or negative. I mean, you go into a shop, let's say, and you're immediately sort of judging what's going on in the shop by the cleanliness of that facility. Same thing happens at the counter, but probably one of my favorite examples of how personal appearance sways judgment. A good friend of mine was an instructor at Alfred State College, and he did a module in one of his courses about professionalism and appearance. He would show up to class intentionally dressed in a stereotypical tough biker outfit. He had a couple of days worth of stubble, a bandana do-rag on his head, wearing a leather jacket, and sunglasses. He'd walk to the front of the class and he'd start the lecture with absolutely no attention paid to his appearance, talking about professionalism and appearance. However, through the course of this lecture, he started changing his appearance, taking off the sunglasses so you can make proper eye contact. He pulled off the do-rag, groomed his hair, took off the jacket, started putting on a button down. And the kicker was he actually brought an electric razor, and during the lecture, he's shaving his face. By the end of the lecture, he went from the stereotypical bad guy biker that might make a customer or anyone else a little nervous to what you think of as a college professor in a very respected role. And the kids had just so much fun with that. It's like, who's this guy coming in? Oh, all right. I get the lesson you're trying to put out here. So, I mean, that was a good 30 years ago, but it's still one of my favorite stories that Kurt ever told me.
That is a great educational experience. I wish my college professors would have done something like that as well. Moving on, in your opinion, how much does a clean and organized work environment contribute to the customer's perception of professionalism at the counter?
Oh, your workspace is definitely a reflection of your work habits. We all have a little bit of mess here and there. I like to think that my workspace is controlled chaos, but there's a lot of control instead
Right.
of just chaos. If you've got piles of paperwork or defective merchandise laying all over the counter for transactions that you have in progress, people might look at that and go, "Man, this guy's too busy for me. I'm interrupting." Or on the other hand, if it's too clean, I might get a little suspicious. I mean, is this fella doing anything? You know, I want to I want to talk to someone who understands what they're doing. If the counter person themselves looks sloppy and disheveled, a little bit harried, and their workstation looks like a bomb just went off, I'm going to wonder how much attention to detail they're going to offer my request. I think showing that you're conscientious about your work environment shows a level of respect for yourself, your employer, as well as the customer that's in front of you.
Now, up to this point, Tom, we've been talking about how, physical appearance, visual impressions, but you mentioned in the article how first impressions matter both in person and on the phone. So in your experience, which one is harder to recover from if it goes wrong?
Oh, absolutely the phone call. Absolutely the phone call. You don't have the advantage of body language or a physical presence, even. Over the phone, just an odd inflection to your voice, or if you pick up that phone and you're in a rush. Parts store, this is Tom. That short, curt message might throw somebody off and think that you're bothering them. The person on the phone is also slightly less invested in their commitment to whatever transaction or question they're posing to you. If they're in the store, they've made the effort to come to you and they're that much closer.
Hmm.
When you've got somebody on the phone, you're still trying to hook them and reel them in to a transaction. If things start to go south in your conversation, they can hang up on you. Once they
Right,
hang
right.
up, it's over.
Hmm.
If somebody at your counter starts to get impatient or doesn't feel like they're being heard, they might just turn on their heel and start to walk out. You may have lost them at that point, but there's still the opportunity to say, "Hey, I'm sorry." It's a second chance. And I mean, if necessary, follow them out to the parking lot,
Sure.
apologize. you know, I've eaten crow on more than a few occasions. It's not very tasty, but it is filling.
Right. All right, well, there's a lot to consider when it comes to this topic, and we're glad you could share your insight on it. Tom Dayton, thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
And that is all for this edition of Counterculture. All of our episodes can be seen on the Counterman YouTube channel and by visiting our website, counterman.com. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.